It's time for your business tip with your business growth strategist, Antonio McCoy. Coach Antonio is a certified business and executive coach. He helps you with the growth of your business, your leadership, and your career. And now, Coach Antonio.
Listening is the foundation of communication. How you listen determines not only how you respond, but how you react. How we listen determines what action we take to resolve an issue. Please listen purposefully to position yourself to have the most positive impact possible. Here are ways to purposefully listen. Listen purely to listen without fixing, judging, or interrupting. This listening strategy involves you listening without drawing a conclusion based on your personal ethics. Regardless of how horrific the story may be that you're listening to, there is no expression on your face to show any feeling towards the information being shared. Lastly, because you are not judging, there is no interrupting. Mastering this listening strategy is important because as the leader, your employees may not always come to you with information. If they know you will not judge them and you will listen without interrupting them, they will feel more comfortable to come to you for just about anything. Listening for emotions. This listening strategy is important because it requires you to use your emotional intelligence. Here you are listening to determine what emotion your employee is experiencing. Are they experiencing fear, anger, joy, or excitement? Knowing what emotion you are seeing will guide you in how you respond and how you choose to proceed to handle the situation. For instance, an employee may not be getting a particular task done. Addressing the task not being done is a short-term objective. However, understanding the emotion involved when you inquire as to what it will take to get the task completed will provide an opportunity to identify the emotion that may be challenging the employee to approach the task like they should. Maybe they fear they won't complete the task correctly and meet your expectation. The emotion here is fear. The question to ask here is, what are you afraid of? You may learn that they doubt themselves or they are not comfortable proceeding because you have not provided thorough information about the task and they are afraid to ask. This fear must be addressed because it is in your best interest as the leader to create a welcoming environment for the employee to share information, especially if they need help. Listening to understand the other person's interests, commitments, aspirations, and point of view. I love this listening strategy because it puts you in the best position to create influence, which is the foundation of leadership. Here you are listening for what the employee's interests are. Maybe they want to advance in their career. You now have a negotiating tool to get your expectations met because in exchange for completing the task, you can offer to help them obtain an opportunity to do what they enjoy or get training to better qualify them for a career aspiration. Knowing what their interests are when they are away from work offers an opportunity to develop a good reward and recognition system. Listening for the employee's commitments, like do they have children or are they looking after an elderly family member, may provide insight into the type of support the employee may need in the way of accommodations. Asking how you can help here will pay big dividends by way of their performance. Finally, it is a good idea to inquire and explore your employee's point of view. Their perspective may offer an opportunity to innovate, which all businesses need to explore today to remain relevant and profitable. Maybe it is a better way to execute a task or an opportunity to gain clarity about a situation or another employee. Either way, asking the right question here, like, please share with me how we should do this, is an opportunity to build a relationship with the employee and simultaneously create loyalty, which in the long run lowers your cost. Listening for how the other person can help or how you can help. This listening strategy provides an opportunity for development, which is one of the two things all managers are supposed to do. Here you're listening for skills that the employee may have to help you solve a problem. The question you might ask is, how would you fix this? This gives them an opportunity to think on a higher level because the employee feels valued and they have a chance to make a difference. Now, you listening for ways you can help them requires you to listen for a challenge they may be experiencing, or it may be a challenge you see them experiencing. Addressing this as their leader shows one of the 6 leadership principles we teach in the High Performance Leadership Academy, which is I care. You are showing that you care about the employee by taking the time to help them solve a problem. Again, this is another way to create influence and create loyalty. Listen for where the other person is stuck. Here, you are listening for where the employee is frustrated because they do not know the next step to take. I have to help most clients get unstuck because they're stuck in an old way of thinking or They may be stuck in one leadership style, or they may be stuck in one way to communicate. Here you ask questions like, what have you tried and how is that working for you? You are listening for opportunities to move them forward. Even if it is one step closer to their objective, it is progress. What words could you say to your employees to get them engaged and mobilized? Listening for opportunities to move things forward towards results. You use this strategy when you have decided, even before you have engaged the employee, that you need to move them forward. You know moving them forward is required to achieve the results that are necessary to achieve success. Here you are listening for anything the employee may say that could be an opportunity to take the next step in the right direction. It could be agreeing to have a conversation with someone to begin making amends. It could be apologizing for something that caused stress for someone else. The goal here is listening for actions that could get things moving. How can you help someone gain clarity so they are certain about the next step they should take? Listening for your impact. I define impact as your effect on someone or something. I strive to have positive impact on everyone who sits down with me. That is the effect I want to have. If someone says to me after I spoke with them, I had such clarity about what I need to do, I just heard the effect I had on someone. Conversely, I may hear someone say that coaching with you made me revisit a very difficult time from my past. Here I have realized through listening for my impact, I have not had the impact I desire to have on someone. I have to decide how I'm going to address this. An example for impact on something is when I'm business coaching and a business is not making the revenue it should. I may recommend emailing the clients in your database. If you start emailing them and the number of transactions increase, which equates to more profit, if your pricing is correct, then I had the positive impact on the business. I'm always listening for impact. When I create the right kind of impact, it typically leads to referrals. What type of impact have you had on the people who cross your path? How do you know? Did you ask them? Listening for feelings or emotions. We addressed emotions earlier, but here I want to talk about feelings. Here you are actually listening for the other person to say, what you did made me feel blank. I want to be clear that there is no right or wrong answer here. Your impact is your impact. If you made a person feel like a child, was that your intent? If it was not your objective, you have to decide what you have to do to fix how you made them feel. And this typically means a showing of humility is in order, and you may have to immediately apologize. I want to be clear, this is not a time to argue how you did not make them feel like a child. Their feelings are valid, and if it was not your intent to make them feel this way, it is your responsibility to provide more clarity in your messaging. Listening for what's in it for them. I like this strategy a lot because everyone always wants to know what's in it for them. An example of this strategy is when you need to change an individual's mindset about something. You need for them to look at it differently. This is a left brain approach when communicating. You may hear someone say they need to lose weight. You may suggest that they go to Chipotle for lunch. They may ask, why did you choose Chipotle? Well, I chose it because it is close by and they are not expensive. They have organic items on their menu to include fresh salad, and I figured it would help you reach your goal with your weight loss. I had to listen closely to them to know about their desire to lose weight. The weight loss is a whiffum, a what's in it for them. Listening for their priorities. With this listening strategy, you are listening for things that are very important to the employee. Once you hear something, you might ask, so being able to walk for 15 minutes after lunch is important to you? For clarity, can you share why this is important to you? Once again, this is another listening strategy that can create tons of influence if you are able to address what is important to the employee. It also forges the path for creating a strong relationship. This is important for being in balance with your leadership when you have to balance ego, relationships, and results on a daily basis. Listening to discover their communication style. There are 7 different communication styles. The reason why it is important to identify their style is because you want to start your conversation with the style the employee uses. To make the styles easy to remember, we have associated them with parts of the body. There's left brain, right brain, heart, spirit and vision, gut, and legs. Left brain deals with facts and data. It may sound like this: I did this because of that. The left brain is overused in Western culture. The problem with left brain is if it's overused, it can come off as being rigid or cold. Right brain is about using a story to illustrate a point. Pick a favorite story or movie you have seen and use the moral of the story to make the point. It may sound like this. Let me tell you a story. You need to maintain a good arsenal of good stories. Heart is showing vulnerability and seeking commitment. It may sound like this. I made a mistake when I asked you to do blank. I put you in a situation where I did not give you all the tools you needed to be successful. For that, I apologize. When seeking commitment, it may sound like this. We are short-handed. Therefore, I am going to need you to help in other areas of the department where you do not typically work. Are you willing to help me with this? Spirit and vision usually go together even though they are two separate styles of communication. You use spirit when you are trying to create enthusiasm and rally the team to meet their goals. Typically, preachers and politicians are examples of spirit. They know how to create emotion and excitement with their vocal tone and delivery. Vision is looking forward and talking about where we will be in 12 months or in 3 years. You use spirit here to create enthusiasm around the role that is required today to create the outcome we are looking for in 12 months or in 3 years. You use gut when someone has crossed boundaries or you need compliance. It may sound like this. If you do this, I'm willing to do this. If you don't do this, I will have to do this. The legs are what we use when the conversation has gone sideways or someone has gotten upset. The goal here is to wait until everyone cools off and then reassess your strategy to re-engage. It may sound like this. I see you are upset, John. How about we settle things down by taking some time to cool off and get our heads back into the discussion? How about we meet for lunch to continue the discussion at Olive Garden? These are the 7 styles and what they could sound like. Listen for your employee's style. Reply or address objections in their style and use 2 or 3 other styles to better illustrate your point to ensure your message is understood. Listening for ways to help and serve. This listening strategy is strictly about listening for ways to help them be more successful in their role or even outside of their role. You are the trainers in their corner when they have to go back in the ring. You are listening for needs you can help them with by identifying relationships or resources you have access to help them be more successful. Listening for things you can appreciate about them. Appreciation is a powerful tool. This listening strategy requires that you listen for the employee to mention qualities about themselves that you value and appreciate. An employee might say, my wife says I drive her nuts being high energy and upbeat all the time. You might say, John, I appreciate the energy you bring to our space. The customers appreciate the energy, and I believe you drive the culture around here. No one can ever be depressed around you. With this high-stress job, your upbeat attitude helps me make it through. Listening for things you appreciate about your employees makes them feel valued, and it makes them feel like they are making a difference. This is important to millennials. This listening style prevents you from falling in the trap of always speaking about an employee in a negative tone or when they've done something wrong. Here you are actually implementing an employee recognition system because you are recognizing good qualities in the employee and you are making them aware of it. Listening for how to get results and also strengthen the relationship. Results are the lifeblood of any leader's survival. You have 2 things to do as the manager: get things done and develop your people. If the goal is to get the team to be more engaged, here you will be listening for things that may be distracting the team, like seeing an employee posting to social media during work hours. The employee might say, Jan took that picture of Fluffy and posted it on Instagram. We all made sure we shared the post with our networks. It appears here that social media is distracting the team from completing the tasks in the office. Now you might say this, posting to social media is great. It gets the business great exposure. However, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 12 noon, I need you working on your tasks in the office. To build a relationship, you might say, 2 days out of the week, I will give the team a picture to tweet at 3 p.m. on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. These are some ways to purposefully listen to your employees, your spouse, or members of your organization. Listening is something I have seen every leader struggle with. The goal here is to pick one of these strategies and focus on it for 1 week, and let's see what happens. Obsessed with your success, I'm Coach Antonio.
You have been listening to business growth strategist Antonio McCoy. Coach Antonio is a certified business and executive leadership coach with MC Howard Business Coaching. If you need help with growing your business, your leadership, or your career, you can reach him at coachantonio@me.com, or you can call or text at 336 888-575-9920. You must continue to develop your skills and grow. Remember, your growth is your responsibility.